we have also, I think, mispositioned Aptopadesha in our tradition. Like I was very surprised to see in Carakasaṃhitā that the purpose of Aptopadesham is to get jnana. But jnanavadam pratyakṣa anumānabhyam parīkṣapaddhati, which means that acharyas are telling very clearly that read the text but investigate before believing in it. Whatever you have learned, first you have to listen to the Aptopadesha, but after you have listened to it, you are allowed to do parīkṣa of that Aptopadesha. Jnanavadam pratyakṣa anumānabhyam parīkṣapaddhati. So what I think we have to subject ourselves to is, including all our theories, dosha, dhatu, whatever it is, let there be a healthy skepticism within our community. Let there be a process of re-examination. Let us subject our entire corpus of knowledge to a validation based on traditional approach itself. And what survives that is what we should link with modern science. What is curated from this process of self-examination. Then we get, the essence, like after an internal churning. Now what is happening is the churning is becoming external. And without this internal process being completed. So what is happening is this is very damaging. You will find unnecessarily a lot of things getting invalidated because they are invalid right from the beginning. So we have these methods and approaches in our tradition. So this is the key point I want to highlight, where it shows how we are similar but different from modern science. The entire corpus of Ayurvedic knowledge, it seems, can be divided into three domains. The Tarkya domain, which is debatable, which is conjectural. The text itself says this is Tarkya. And now why do we want to swear upon things which our acharyas have themselves said is debatable? Then we have Drishyam, things that are based on observations and findings, which we can re-verify through actual observation. But what makes Ayurveda different from modern science is this idea of Atindriya. Ayurvedic knowledge is divided into three domains of Tarkyam, Drishyam and Atindriya. Tarkyam is debatable, not truth. They have given some opinions, ideas, and they have left it like that. Drishyam is what they say is true because we have verified it by pratyakṣa. Atindriyam is something which Apta Shishta, Rajastamobhyam Nurmukta, this is some coming from a state of mind. This is very unique to Ayurveda. This kind of source of knowledge is not there in modern medicine. So Tarkyam is etad yatha vat saṅkhyādam tat prabhriti drishyam Tarkyam ataparam. So even in anatomy, Carakasaṃhitā has said that after a point it is Tarkyam. And what is very interesting is Ekīya matamaha tvat prakriti drishyam Tarkyam eva chaike iti pada. So this was a debate. Some people in ancient times had the idea that a lot of anatomy in Ayurveda is Tarkya, not reliable. But somehow that narrative was, what you can say, downplayed. And later period, they have tried to say that even if it is Tarkyam, it will never, trespass the overall Sāṅkhya of anatomy. Now, so there is even in the tradition a tendency to convert what is Tarkya also into something which is, this has been the curse of Ayurveda. What is Tarkya is also being posed as, final, arsham or unquestionable. So I think we have to, this is one area where we have to really re-examine our samhitas and identify those sections that are Tarkya and deal with it in the way it should be dealt with. Then we will be able to go into the more core teachings of Ayurveda, which would be in the realm of Drishyam and, Tarkyam. So I'm just skipping a few slides. With this I will conclude. I want to highlight that Ādi Śaṅkaracārya has, even in non-Ayurvedic tradition, there is a clear stance in our tradition. Nacha pratyaksha virodhe shrute pramanya. If pratyaksha contradicts something which is mentioned in the Shrutis, then you don't have to accept the Shruti. Nahi Shruti shatam api Shitognir apragasha iti bruvat pramanyam labhate. Even if 100 Vedic texts say that fire is cold and dark, we cannot accept it because our pratyaksha. So Shrutischa na atindriyartha vishaye pramadam. So this is the position, like we have to clearly distinguish in the body of Ayurvedic knowledge what is Tarkyam, what is Drishyam, what is Atindriyam. And if we can do this categorization, that Grahya Tyajyatum, that is the only purpose of this exercise. What is Grahyam, what is Tyajyam in Ayurveda? If we use only the measures of modern science, many things which are Grahyam will be rejected. So before we do that exercise, if we can do our own internal exercise of what is Grahyam and Tyajyam, and what we are getting here are some approaches, some methods through which we can do that. And once we do that, we make Ayurveda ready for integration with modern science. And there we'll be in a better position to understand what elements of modern science are helpful for us. And this is a first symposium. We are going to go in future into the actual details of what we should actually do. This symposium is only to set the tone, the background for such an exercise.
Yeah, very well said, Rammanoharji. Can I say something?
Yes.
Okay, so very well said. And
your voice is a bit low. Can you be a little bit?
Okay. Is it now okay? Okay. So you said the same thing. Na shastra matra sharanaha na cha analochita agamaha.
Yes.
So this is really a very good way of concluding such a session. As an action point, I think the following. First, we should, instead of only discussing, we should start working on a few monographs, let us on a particular topics that will summarize the Eastern, Western, or traditional modern thinking, not only just Ayurveda, but comprising all Darshan Shastras, etc. For example, cause-effect relationship. For example, Pramana Vichar in clinical research, etc. And this such monographs will include whatever is required for taking that particular domain ahead. For example, Pramana Vichar in clinical research will include, say, cause-effect relationship, how to assess causality of adverse event, maybe modern criteria, but how to present a particular topic that may include certain Vada Marga Pada or certain kind of Parishad, Surit Parishad, Pratinivishta Parishad, Udasin Parishad, how to put forward a particular thing. So whatever is required that we will include and present in that particular monograph, and that will be something very concrete addition to the existing content, I would say, and that can be used, such kind of content that can be used in colleges, or that content will also form a Purva Paksha. Somebody will say that, look, addition of something from Natya Shastra is very pertinent. So we will add or we will include that particular aspect. So writing on a few topics that will be really helpful, productive, and what important is not only just a product, but a process is very important. Right. We are being criticized for a huge gap between principles and practices. In one line, if you can really crystallize the problem, it may be research methodology, or it may be immunology, or whatever. We have many principles, but what we lack in practices. And this is time to boost our practices with very concrete action points. And hence I thought I shared what I'm thinking at this point. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Girish. I think the suggestion of monographs is really very excellent. And in fact, we are trying to come out as part of our activities of our IKS Centre also to have such resources and materials made available through compilations. And this could probably encourage more and more people to come with such material. I still strongly believe that, because of our abuse of Padartha Vijnana, we have not given this topic proper merit. And there is really a scope for reinterpretation of many of these concepts very carefully, not to, draw unnecessary over explanatory, what I can say, over interpretative parallels. But there is a need to show that in spirit, why can modern science be applied in Ayurveda? Because both are exercises to find truth. Both are knowledge, systems, so they are compatible. So for that, I think there is still a lot of work that needs to be done. What I've also compiled are just scattered references. I'm really looking forward to more interactions with other experts of Nyāya, Vaiśeṣika, Sāṅkhya, who will be able to, introduce us to more deeper narratives and discourses on these processes. I think we have missed that exercise because of the way Padartha Vijnana got framed. Okay, so let's hear from a few others also. Thank you, Dr. Girish.
Yeah, I'm really glad to see these different kind of take that is really a fresh, looks fresh to me, because almost always we all think that certain aspects of Ayurveda are unquestionable, and we don't even talk about examining dosha dhatu mala, which are considered as the fundamentals, and but this discussion looks very fresh to me, and you're talking about even questioning the basic theories. If they are not relevant, or if they require modification, we should not be hesitant to modify these theories as well. So keeping theoretical framework intact has been almost always the narrative that we take up whenever we speak of introducing some modifications or the reforms in Ayurveda. But reforms should include even having a fresh look at our principles and theories also. This is what is very important, and I'm really glad to be witnessing this fresh kind of thinking. Thank you for bringing up this kind of fresh thoughts before us. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dr. Mishra. Yeah. See, the idea is that is why the whole purpose of this whole exercise is to show that critical thinking can be implemented in Ayurveda in a constructive manner. That is the whole idea. That critical thinking should come within the Ayurvedic community so that they break out of their shells and make better use of the traditional knowledge and then, once you break out of that shell, the whole world opens up before you. You have the whole potential to develop Ayurveda in a new direction. So thank you, Dr. Kishor. Anybody else? Dr. Supriya, Dr. Rajmohan, Dr. Asmita, Rajeshwari, I think, had to leave briefly. She will be back soon.
Once again, Dr. Rammanohar, when you had to go for a brief time, I spoke a lot. I think it is recorded also.
Yes, we will listen to it.
And yes, and the exercise which you have started, the essence of it is, let us freshly look at. I'm borrowing the words from Kishor. I hope he allows me to do that. That yes, what happens is, whenever we want to do something new, not only the teachers, all the students, because of the teachers, everybody is confused whether we should tell that our umbilical cord is attached to Ayurveda or not. And this is a new thing. So what should we do? So the cord is attached, but at some point you need to cut it also. The umbilical cord, unless you cut it, the new body, the baby will not survive on its own. So this type of approaches are essential to check the original science using the original sciences methodological parameters or aspects, as well as we should put the original science to test using the new parameters, and that's what I think we intend to do here in the under the domain of Indian knowledge systems. So Indian knowledge systems have their own good or good parts. There might be some irrelevant parts which we all are agreeing to, and then let us come out with, as I said, when you were not there, I said that this should not remain just like a discussion. There should be some document coming out of it, which we can be which we will be able to make available to all the teachers who are interested, and also to those who are not interested, but we will have to make them up that read this is what it is. So some concrete textbook, or I don't know what to say, I don't have that word right now, but something should emerge from these discussions which will give a footing for the new generation coming in. Gen Z they are called now, and that's where we must be able to give this knowledge to them in a very practical, applicable manner. Thank you for inviting me for this sensitive and interesting discussion.
Yeah, sir. Actually, this IKS perspective of Ayurveda, definitely that should be there, because the identity of Ayurveda as a treatment science, exactly, it's so important that we have to identify, recognize, and probably reinvent and validate all those ideas that lies probably in some of the health-related traditional knowledge. Probably we can say that. So the health-related traditional knowledge that is linked to cultures, that is linked to culinaries, various culinary aspects, and art and art-related artifacts. All those things we need to bring up. So this IKS, identifying and projecting Ayurveda as an IKS, of course, it is the need of the time. And what exercise you are currently what you have bring forward exactly, that is also so relevant. So definitely, I have nothing more to add. Both of these dimensions, identifying Ayurveda as a medical system, as a public health system, is very relevant. Equally, it is important to identify Ayurveda as an Indian traditional knowledge system, in which knowledge from isolated cultural pockets, folklore practices, and that is laden in our so many other like health-related traditional manuscripts that are available in various parts of the country. In Kerala, Archives Departments itself holds about 1 crore of manuscripts, and we have to identify what are actually there in these manuscripts, how much of health-related traditional information or knowledge is available in these manuscripts. So all those kinds of activities should go in parallel, and definitely that is going to give us an idea regarding the flora and fauna of various parts of the country, how we can utilize, probably that can guide us to exploring much on the medicinal plant, like pharmacological activities of these plants, and probably we can utilize it for the benefit of the humanity. So I think the exercise we are conducting here is very relevant, and it should go forward as ma'am was suggesting. It should go with publications. It should go with a group which is constantly involving in these activities and constantly communicating with other like-minded people, so that these activities should go on relentless. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Raghu. Dr. Supriya, we can see you as a silhouetted image of you.
Because I have again changed my position, but yeah, at this time point I don't have much to say. I agree with all the experts, I have just one suggestion about these sessions, because we are having such an interesting and important discussion, that if we can have these sessions, if everyone agrees that after office hours or on the Sundays, that will be really good, because then we can focus on the sessions completely. This is my suggestion, of course, if everyone agrees.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. Even I had to, myself and Dr. Rajeshwari, we all had to escape in between. Because of some official, unavoidable things. So it's a good idea to have it on a Sunday, maybe, or on a holiday. We'll definitely consider that to get more engagement. And maybe we can also open it to, what is your suggestion about opening it to our larger community? I mean, to have a larger audience, or should it be still very close?
If I can come on this particular aspect, I think we can invite some more experts from other streams also, maybe from philosophy, from Sanskrit, Indology, like that at the moment. But let us not make it very open to all. It should be only with invited people, because sometimes the discussions can go haywire. Let us come out with some draft, some structure of how we are, as you are saying that there will be a series of symposiums. So how you are looking at it, what is it in your mind, the complete format, if it is there, then accordingly we can invite people. That is my suggestion. Based on the knowledge and expertise what we require at that time point. And then once something in some basis platform is ready, then we can make it open and we can invite we can take criticism of any kind, positive, negative, both. So that's not a problem. But at the beginning stage, at least until the structure is formed, I think let's make it a closed loop.
Dr. Rajeshwari?
Hello, sir. Yes. Thank you, sir. It was a very nice session, actually. And as what I understood in a nutshell about it is, when we position a concept or a research, we must give more and more importance to the convergence and divergences. And we know we need to follow what is there in the text, like research methodological points. And along with that, we have to upgrade ourselves, adopt the techniques which are explained in the modern science. And along with that, without leaving our concepts behind, obtain the data which is very relevant. And I liked it when it came to the interpretation in the form of Tarkya, Drishya, and Atindriya. This is the stage where most of us are facing a lot of problems to to project our researches to the scientific world. And I think this symposium or the further upcoming sessions must discuss on how to fill these gaps or lacunas, and what are the methods that has to be adopted, so that once these points are, because there is a stage where we get results which are only explained by Atindriyas of that particular consultant or a researcher. So we need to answer such questions, because most of the times we are failing in these aspects. And that's all I need to highlight. And overall, it was very interesting, and it was brainstorming. And I just thank you for making me as a part of this, because all are eminent researchers, and I'm just a beginner in this. Okay, thank you all, and thank you for your valuable information. So it helped me to update myself also. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for those interesting comments. Actually, at this stage, our project is in an exploratory stage, and we are compiling inputs and suggestions from experts, and creating a kind of a white paper document with a much more clearer roadmap, which we hope to pursue in the second phase of our project. So this is setting up a center, creating bringing people together. That is the goal of the first phase of the project. It's a very short period, 2 years. and we have 3 areas to work. Like in Arogya Samskriti, we have created a whole database of about 2,000, in bits of information from more than 240 textbooks that is being made into an interactive database, which can inform, us to develop a public health approach which is inspired from our tradition. Parikshapaddhati is basically to define the problem. What is the problem in the field? Why we need a Parikshapaddhati based on IKS approach? And what is the action that we can do the next, 5 to 10 years where some change can come about? How Ayurveda can continue. I mean, the whole idea is that Ayurveda should be able to renew, modernize itself in a way that it will be able to incorporate new knowledge and move forward. And I fully agree with Dr. Girish that the future is interdisciplinary approach. I mean, the whole idea of bringing IKS is not to separate Ayurveda from modern science and give it a kind of special identity. It is basically to enable Ayurveda to embrace modern knowledge in a more effective manner. So at this stage, we are expecting certain directions, certain pointers, because the project is going to get concluded in March, and then we will go for a second phase where by that time we need some clear action plans. So we will be troubling you again in the next 2 to 3 months for another meeting where we will come up with the outcomes of the present meeting and then talk about much more clear deliverables and outputs. So there are just a few more things we have hardly half an hour left in our meeting. I just wanted to give some final comments and then conclude. So, there is a general understanding I got of what is the difference. I mean, we looked at a lot of similarities between IKS and modern scientific approach to the extent that I feel that both approaches are compatible. I don't think there is a big conflict in modern scientific approach and Ayurveda, because this element of self-criticality, element of testing that is the only reason why I called it also something like null. Not at all, it is not at all null, or to show that process of thinking where you want to refute something which is there and examine it before accepting is there in both traditions. So there is a mutual compatibility between modern approaches and Ayurveda, but there are differences also. Like if you look at the methods of knowledge, Ayurveda is always based on clinical, innovation. That is, it's all very physician-based, not like lab-based approach that we have. This has already been pointed out by, so many scientists, including the approach of reverse pharmacology and all that. But this idea of necessity to do tarka, I believe that we can, if just this one thing comes back to Ayurveda, we will be in a better position to generate real-world data from clinical practice, which is really missing. Charaka seems to point out that every time we treat a patient, we have to do a tarka to find out whether it was a treatment that worked or not. Now, this is not randomized control trial kind of evidence, but this is when in individualized care, when every patient is unique, this kind of a clinic-based validation is very, very relevant. And Ayurveda has considered that to be very, very important. Charaka is very clearly telling, if you cannot justify why your treatment worked, how your treatment worked, he says it should be dismissed as chance effect. So here also, I just mentioned this when we were discussing. Yes, in drug research, yes, I just noticed Girish's point. In drug research, we have, where in modern medicine, it's a fractionation approach. Ayurveda is more synergistic approach. So those are the areas. If we can clearly spell out where we are similar, where we are different, then there will be a better interaction between modern scientists and Ayurveda. And, all these observational epidemiological studies that Dr. Rajmohan was mentioning about, they come within the purview of anumāna. Retrospective, prospective, cross-sectional. There are very clear parallels. But as Dr. Rajmohan clearly pointed out, we did not have an experimental model. It seemed to be based on repeated experiential inferences rather than well-designed studies. There is no mention in any of our texts about a study design. Include so much population, have this inclusion, exclusion criteria. But that process of inference is there, which means that we can adopt these modern observational studies. They are compatible with Ayurveda. And finally, Paramarsha, I think this was also mentioned by somebody about Paksha Sapaksha, which is the final stage of anumāna. Because if you look at Ayurveda, you see you have in clinical practice ruling out accidental success, then establishing associations, and finally establishing causation. These stages were very clearly distinguished. So that means that, Ayurvedic treatments also need to be validated. But since it is individualized approach, the designs are different. The designs that we need are different. Like even n is equal to 1 design may be relevant in Ayurveda. So it is more in terms of when we come to how Ayurveda looks at the body, looking at it in a more complex way, looking at multiple, because Ayurveda yukti is very important. Buddhi paschati ya bhavan, bahukarana yogajan. So multiple causal framework is what makes Ayurveda different. So what we wanted to do at the end of this exercise at the first stage is to clearly spell out these similarities and differences, and then talk about what would be the appropriate method. Today I'm seeing a lot of advices on how research should happen. They are just taking the modern approach and applying it in Ayurveda without really adapting it and tailoring it to Ayurvedic needs. So that is the approach. So I just wanted to highlight very briefly here. One of the difference is in modern medicine, like we are working in our lab here. What the lab does is if I take a plant, it can break it down into its components so effectively. But if I ask my instruments to again tell me how they all work together, they are not designed to do that. So in Ayurveda, the whole is more than sum of its parts. Nahi jnana ave. So this is where we need a difference in methodological approach. And this is something which I think, a lot of things in Ayurveda, so for example, Prakriti. There is a lot of new knowledge to be created. Prakriti, we have described only 3 Prakritis, but there are supposed to be 7 and even more Prakritis. How does a modern student of Ayurveda understand what is Vata Pitta Prakriti? It is not as simple as just simply, see, when our texts don't even profile what is Vata Pitta Prakriti, what is Kapha Pitta Prakriti, there is no description. Lot of things are missing. They would say the rest is Edan Nidarsana Matra Muktam. The rest you have to identify. So that knowledge filling has to happen. There is a lot of new knowledge that has to be created and accepted in Ayurveda. So I strongly think that the real outcome I'm looking at it is a curated Samhita. I don't think we may have another Charaka or Vagbada in the near future. But if all of us come together, we could fill that gap. Create a new Samhita which extracts the relevant information from the classical text, but removes the things that are not relevant for today. I am not looking forward to the future where students, we all face that conflict. They read things that are absolutely irrelevant. It's a lot of time, energy, and effort to read that much of Sanskrit. And at the end of the day, they realize that what they have taken so much trouble to read and understand is completely irrelevant. I mean, it's a waste of time. So if we can have one core Samhita, which takes the extracts from the existing literature, only the ones that are relevant for today. And in the area of anatomy, physiology, they bring in some updated, information. The details they can read from modern anatomy and physiology, but at least making the fundamental corrections there, then we will have a new corpus. This is the purpose of our current exercise, to have such a corpus, which should then be the basis for all scientific studies. So we have this 3-tier structure, Tattva Shastra Vyavahara. We are talking about it, but not bringing it into practical application. Can't we create a system where for every practice, the theory should be explained? And for every theory, we should explain what is the principle behind it. So we can move from principle to theory to practice, or from practice to theory to principle. Anybody who's having any Ayurvedic discourse, ultimately it has to be deconstructed into this framework, Tattva Shastra and Vyavahara. If I'm doing this practice, what is the theory supporting that practice? And what is the principle behind which the theory is constructed? If we can bring this framework back, then I think Ayurveda will become a living, dynamic, evolving knowledge system. And then it has to face the challenge of having to withstand the development of modern medicine. And that, I think, let us see what happens. If Ayurveda is strong enough, it can survive as an independent knowledge system. Or maybe they will all merge and we will have a meta knowledge system. That is something which we will know only in the future. But the whole idea of this process is to set this process into motion. Let us not hold back because of certain biases, because of certain, tendencies from the tradition, that is not allowing us to go out in an open way. Let us become open. That is the whole purpose of this whole exercise. So thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Very
Thank you, everyone,
Thank you.
for that wonderful.
I agree. Wonderful.
Good. Food for brain.
Any final comments? One last round of comments from everybody, and then we can conclude.
Revised Samhita is that, I'm all for complete. Yeah, that is what is the need of the hour. Definitely. Thank you for bringing this up.
Lots of concepts need this approach, either a good explanation, experimentation, or maybe we have to label them irrelevant for the time being, like avaranas. Like there are lots of. So the thought which you presented is ambitious, but with everybody's support, I think if we come together, then it is doable. So congratulations, Dr. Rammanohar, for bringing it to the table. In our own ways, every one of us who have gathered here are talking the same, that there are lots of similarities in the scientific core thinking, and there are certain differences also. So, but to give it a shape and bringing it to table is very important, and that you have done. So let's do it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So we just need to hear the last comments now from Dr. Rajmohan, Dr. Supriya, Dr. Girish, Dr. Rajeshwari, and then we are done.
Yeah. Just to add to that, because we need a vision in the Samhitas, and that approach is very good. At least it may take some time, at least take active effort to bring the recent researches and its findings to our students, because whatever happening there are a whole lot of research going on in the field of Prakriti genomics, and some other clinical researches and some community level findings are already there in the literature. But unfortunately, our BAMS students or even the postgraduate students are unaware of all these changes, and there should be at least some upgradation in the syllabus to incorporate these recent findings. There are no textbooks per se to bring all these changes here. So that is the need of the hour. And this effort, somebody has to take this effort. And we know that Rammanohar sir is walking in these directions for quite a long time, and he has been instrumental in doing things like that. So we all with you. So please go ahead. This is my last comments. Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr.
Hello, sir. Can I come?
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I remember one statement at the end of this session, that is, Ayurveda practice is like a mathematics. This was told by one of my teachers. Okay, because the point you raised was from theory to practice or practice to theory. There should be a replicable, whatever we do. So that is very important. And in most of the conditions or most of the textual references, it is there. That mathematical calculations are there and we can replicate them. But at times we are ignorant, and at times people are not focusing on that. We have to streamline that part because we know if this happens, just with an example, I just want to conclude you. All of us know Gradrasi is there, and the Chikitsa Sutra, he will tell Raktamokshana is there, Agni Karma is there. So one stream of people may say that I use Agni Karma. One stream of people may say I use Raktamokshana. There is a calculative explanation saying that if these doshas are there, you adopt this treatment. If this dosha combination is there, you adopt this treatment. If you really look into that, or if you really look into the success rate in these both the groups, when you adopt these calculative thoughts, only you will get the results. So this is how the concepts are working. And if you just go in detail with the texts of Ayurveda, we see the acharyas have given more and more importance to the diagnosis. And they have given little liberty to choose the treatment with logic. So it's a completely mathematical approach must be taken instead of only going with the experiential thoughts of the individuals or physicians here. So that's what I just wanted to convey here, sir. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much.
Can I say?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so actually there is nothing much from my side to say. Revisiting or rewriting, reinventing the samhitas is definitely a good thing. But to start with, I would at least say that establishing the importance of subject of Padartha Vignan, that can be that is the essential step which we can definitely achieve, and that is an achievable target also. So this is something which we should look into first. And you all might be knowing that there are some efforts going on by NCISM that there should be some practicals of Padartha Vignan, and people are coming up with ideas like how we can bring in practicals in Padartha Vignan. So I don't know how fruitful that idea is and how workable that idea is, but at least something which will highlight the importance of this subject as Padartha Vignan and the way it is taught. As Dr. Rajmohan said, that we can bring in the new research in the Samhitas. Of course, how we can complement with the modern knowledge systems or other things. As Girish has talked about the bias, I mentioned about the causality algorithms. So if we can bring in such things at least to enhance the knowledge or understanding of the subject Padartha Vignan, that will be really, helpful and good as a first step, first initiative. That is from my side.
Thank you, Supriya. Dr. Girish?
Yes, this is very important initiative, and we will all contribute to this the activity and the objectives of this project. Please take our help. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Your voice was a little low, but I think we got what you were conveying. So I think everybody commented. Dr. Asmita, I think you have also commented the final. Yes. So I think then we are done. Thank you so much for joining. I know it's a very big challenge. We had actually planned to make it a full day event, but I thought that would be asking too much from all of you. So we reduced it to a more compact session. But thank you so much for making it very interactive and giving so much valuable insights. And I hope you were able, I wanted it to be a very open, uninhibited, responses from all of you. So I hope you expressed yourself openly and did not have any reservations, because we need really open discussions and in a healthy way. So I hope we succeeded in creating that kind of an atmosphere. Thank you so much.
Yes, Rammanoharji. So in next,
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone, for that wonderful brainstorming discussion and the valuable insights. Now, I invite Dr. Shyamasundaran K, Assistant Professor and Research Officer, Amrita Centre for Advanced Research in Ayurveda, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. So from the discussions that we all attended from the morning, it is very evident that, such strong points, on the IKS component, especially of the, Parikshapaddhati, how the research should be carried forward in Ayurveda, were very, discussed in all aspects. And now, and you all have given very valuable, inputs. And we, assure you that we'll all record this and document and prepare a draft on the basis of which we will have the further discussions, which will be, communicated to you in some time. And to, call it a conclusion, I would like to really, thank all the invited guests, Dr. Girish Tillu, Dr. Supriya Bhalerao, Dr. Asmite Wele, Dr. Kishor Patwardhan, Dr. Rajeshwari P N, and also Dr. Rammanohar, and our team from here, from IKS Centre, Amrita IKS Centre, who have, given, share your valuable inputs and shared, the findings of the research in Parikshapaddhati. So with this concluding note, I would once again like to thank each one of you for your valuable time, and thank you, everyone.
Yes, we have come to the end of the session. Once again, heartfelt thanks to everyone present here. Namaskar.